Our team was commissioned, set up a year ago and a bit, so April 2018, and the main purpose that it has is to provide enhanced support to people with learning disabilities and or autism in the community, to help them stay out of hospital and to have a good life. Our team works mainly with people that have either committed offences in the past, or people who are seen to have some kind of risky behaviour now that might put themselves or other people at risk. So we really were working with people that other people are concerned about.
Another great way that the way our team works is that the people don't need to be referred to professions specifically. So when they come to the team, they are open to the full team. So they're open to nursing, psychology, speech language therapy, occupational therapy. Whereas difference with the community is that they are referred to specific professions.
Our assumption in working with people who may get into trouble with the law is that if they've got a good quality of life, if they're able to get their basic needs met, then they won't be resorting to using risky behaviour or offending behaviour, because for most of them that's the reason that they've done it.
And I think it's about working with those who are supporting these people, that helping them to know what can they do and what can't they do, and to help them understand them more as well. So it's that people may assume that they can do more than what that they can do to rise.
It's about understanding the needs of the individual and what works for them, and what helps to keep them sort of safe and happy, and actually building really capable, effective packages of care for when they come out of secure environments where obviously there's a level of security and structure, and to an extent they are sort of people know where they are, it's a locked environment, that kind of thing. And it's about trying to recreate the most effective parts of that has worked for them over probably years in the community, so that they can have the best life possible.
I think it's getting there. I think that anything with a new team, it's about forming that team and knowing how everyone works together and what everyone brings to the team in terms of their different specialisms, isn't it? And I think working forensically is slightly different to working in a community setting in terms of what you might look at and how you might assess and how you might support. I mean,
I think when we first started as well, there's a bit of uncertainty, not just from us guys, what it is we do, but from community teams as well. All they knew is there's going to be a forensic support team. But we had quite a clear-cut criteria when we first started. We had a list, didn't we, of people that we would be working with under the Transforming Care agenda. So I think the expectations that perhaps the community teams and other services, social care had, was that would be working with anybody with forensic risk, but actually we had to stick to that. And I think as we've sort of formed, and specs might be changing, but I think more services are more aware of what it is we do and how we do it. So I think that's something we've managed to build on over the last year and a bit.
It's really important to break down silos, because while we are kind of all under pressure and sort of clinging on to our own criteria so that our caseloads don't balloon and we have more work than we're ever going to be able to do effectively, if we can work flexibly and build strong relationships and engagement between teams, the individuals that we're supporting will get a much better, much more effective and safer service, and hopefully much better outcomes than everybody just doing their little bit and then passing the individual on.
I think we've had, since our team's been set up, we've had some really successful discharges and transitions. So people have managed to come from these secure hospitals and placements into the community, and those people have managed to maintain those placements within the community with our team support, and there are other support structures around them from the community teams, the social care teams, and their paid support as well. So I think we've managed to all work together to maintain those community placements.
Seeing people kind of move on in their lives in terms of being able to do really simple things like go on holiday or go away for the weekend or have a pet.
Yeah.
Like really things that we all probably take for granted, but for those kinds of people who've been in hospital for such a long time, to then be able to come into the community and do that, and that's what we mean by leading a good life as well.
List rolls on.
A big one is, it has to be said, is the lack of providers in the community who are equipped to work with people with these kind of complex challenges, and that's probably down to the speed of the change in services nationally. It was a big government push to move people out of long-stay hospital placements and to try and build the support in the community to take them, but that's been a relatively short process, and we're still in that process.
Because we support some quite challenging individuals. For me, there's always an expectation that when they move into their new home, their new supported living, or wherever that may be, that actually there will be difficulties and maybe crisis incidents, and we need to try and build that in and make sure that we can maintain the individual during those periods where they are living, as opposed to them bouncing straight back to prison or secure hospital or wherever. I think a lot of services don't feel that the kind of cohort, the group of people with a high level of forensic risk is part of their role really, or they don't feel that they've got the skills or the knowledge to support that individual, and that creates a real kind of fear factor. And I think that's true for all of us. I don't think any of us are actually experts in managing this group of people in the community, but again it comes down to sort of support from the organisation and the training and supervision and the joint working, rather than just no they're coming out of prison, that's not something that we do kind of thing. And again, I'm not blaming anybody, because services and teams are under so much pressure. There was almost an element of them trying to protect themselves as a service, really.
One of the common myths or misconceptions is that, as we said, this group of service users are relatively able compared to those that LD services have traditionally worked with, and it's easy for people to think they're perhaps more able than they are, that their understanding is as good as it appears to be, and with that comes an assumption of people being more responsible than perhaps they've got the skills to deal with.
I think there's something about managing service users' expectations as well, because being in hospital for so long, you kind of see the community as the be all and end all. It's like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and sometimes coming into the community can be really frightening, can be quite disappointing. There are still restrictions that society kind of places on all of us that
and they may not fully understand those.
Yeah,
they may.
It's really complicated
when they're told, but actually to live it.
Yeah. So I think that can, emotionally, from a service user point of view, can actually be really, really challenging.